Experts say flu season this year could be much different than it was last year. The CDC says cases of flu could arrive earlier and be more severe than normal. With more on that, here's reporter Nina Bupasavan.
Flu season is just around the corner, and while there are still unknowns, it may be a brutal one. If you recall, last year we barely had the flu to contend with as we were in the middle of the pandemic, where there was constant hand washing, hand sanitizing, social distancing, and mask wearing. Now that the Delta variant is still surging in different communities and flu season is fast approaching, experts are encouraging everyone to be more careful.
It's so important to get the flu shot this year and every year for prevention of severe illness. One of the main reasons to get the flu is to avoid the serious complications that can come with the flu, and they're unpredictable. So healthy people can get very sick from that, with pneumonia and even death. And we also know that patients or people with chronic medical conditions, the influenza virus can make those conditions worse.
Dr. Oegland says North Memorial hospitals and clinics are already well stocked with vaccines for the public. The flu shots are widely available at pharmacies as well. Some things to keep in mind with the flu or influenza are the symptoms. It's much more severe than you may realize.
One of the biggest differences about influenza versus the common cold is oftentimes the common cold comes on very gradually, where influenza comes on very suddenly. So you are feeling sick quickly, your body aches are more severe, you often have a fever, there's cough, that type of thing. So it's a very different experience than a common cold.
Anyone over 6 months old is recommended to get the flu shot. Dr. Oegland also wants to reinforce that even though you've received the COVID vaccine, it will not protect you from the flu, so it's important to have both. Also, to help prevent the flu from spreading, incorporate personal protective measures such as washing your hands frequently, masking in public spaces, social distancing, and staying home when you're sick. Nina Bupasavan, CCX News.
The Minnesota Department of Health is extending its COVID-19 mobile vaccination program. This as the number of COVID-19 cases has gone up significantly this past month. The department says the mobile buses will help serve underserved populations and communities of color. The 6 mobile vaccination units in service from April through August administered more than 7,200 doses of the vaccine across the state, including in places like Berkland Park and Berkland Center, where there have been higher COVID-19 case rates. Health officials say the program was so successful that they're keeping 2 of the mobile vaccination units in service. For more information on where the mobile vaccination bus will be, head to our website, ccxmedia.org. The Maple Grove Hospital hopes to break ground on a long-awaited expansion project come spring. The nearly $200 million project aims to turn the hospital into a medical destination campus. Last year, the Maple Grove Hospital had the most deliveries in the state, with more than 5,000 babies born. But hospital leaders say there is an urgent need to expand emergency, imaging, and inpatient care there.
We believe that people don't want to go into the city if they don't have to, that they don't want to go through the traffic and the hassle, and this is a perfect location for that. And so the faster we can develop this campus, the faster it'll be more successful.
Maple Grove Hospital is 75% owned by North Memorial Health and 25% by M Health Fairview. The project is currently awaiting approval by M Health Fairview. Some Minnesota lawmakers are touring sites of the proposed capital investments here in the northwest suburbs. This week, members of the House Capital Investment Committee visited locations in Osseo, Maple Grove, and Berkland Park. One of the stops included the Hennepin County Recycling Center and Transfer Station in Berkland Park. Officials want to add something called an anaerobic digester adjacent to the transfer station. It would help recycle organic waste and create energy too.
You think about Thanksgiving dinner, you eat, you create compost, you create gas. That's what it is. We're going to take organics, we're going to recycle it, we're going to create gas, which we're going to sell back to the utilities. So we're going to put that back in the system. Then we're going to use whatever's left over to create compost that people can come and pick up.
The bonding request for the project was $21 million. Officials say the anaerobic digester could recycle about 30% of organic waste. Meanwhile, Osseo is seeking state money to improve its wastewater treatment stations. This was also a stop on the bonding tour. The city is asking for funds to repair and modernize the city's 3 lift stations, which haven't been upgraded since 1960. Lift stations raise wastewater and sewage to higher ground so it can be piped to treatment facilities.
When you have a lift station that's essentially right next to residential properties, safety is paramount, not only for our employees who manage and operate the facilities, but also the neighboring properties, and we want to make sure that we're good stewards of public safety here.
The city is seeking $1.3 million to upgrade them, which is roughly half of the city budget. If the city doesn't receive any bonding money, property taxes and utility rate hikes are expected in order to make those necessary upgrades. Runners, mark your calendars for an annual race that's coming up the second weekend of October. And of course, we are talking about the Autumn Woods Classic.
The 10K and the 5K are timed, so you'll get maybe the more experienced runner, the runner looking for a time. 1K really geared for the entire family, from little kids all the way up to grandma and grandpa. But the feature event is Camp S'more. It's a family. Families can hang out. Eastman Nature Center will be here with activities.
Here's video of the last Autumn Woods Classic, which was held 2 years ago. Last year it was virtual for the first time in the race's over 30-year history. At this year's race, everyone gets a s'more kit that they can make at Camp S'more. You can register ahead of time or on race day, and organizers expect about 700 racers for this event. We will leave you with more from the Autumn Woods Classic.
He is one of the key players for a stingy Maple Grove football defense. In this week's CCX Sports Spotlight, we feature a guy who comes from a football family. Mason South admits football is pretty high up on his list of priorities. The Maple Grove High School senior gets plenty of the sport in practice and on game nights, and watches a lot more on the weekends.
All the time. I watch college, the NFL. Even when the XFL was on, I'd watch that too.
And he studies a lot of game film of Crimson opponents, too. That homework paid off in Maple Grove's 35-7 win over Minnetonka when Mason, number 45, recorded 8 tackles for loss, including 5 quarterback sacks.
Got to give some credit to our coverage, because some of those, the quarterback was standing there for a long time. DBs locked up their wide receivers and gave me time to make plays.
He's a special kid. He's been up on varsity for 3 years. He's truly a leader. He does little things behind the scenes. He's the guy who drives the kid who doesn't have a ride. He's the guy who he's really bought into this thing. So I was excited for him last week. He's earned it.
The senior defensive end actually started high school football on offense.
Freshman year, I actually played center on the O-line, so I got pulled up sophomore year, and I just said, screw it, I'm playing D-line.
Teammates and coaches can see the improvement in his game just in the last year.
The amount of work he's put in this last offseason is unreal. Like that step he took from junior to senior year was just amazing to see. And all of us were there watching it. We're like, holy crap, this kid's gonna be really good.
I think he's running at a much faster clip this year than he did last year, so he's able to close on backs a lot faster. And so his preparation this offseason really has made a difference.
As good as South was in the game against Minnetonka, the Crimson features several impact players on defense. That makes the whole unit tough to play against.
And Scanson will get there for the sack.
What I like about them isn't how many points they're giving up, it's more they're giving us good field position all the time. And so I've been proud they've kind of done a really good job giving the offense short fields, and that's a big goal as we want to control field position from the defensive side of the ball.
We pride ourselves in playing fast. That's every pregame, we always have something on the board, and everyone says play fast. So we pride ourselves in playing fast and playing physical, and I think we got our guys who can beat the big guys. So.
The Crimson make no secret about their goal of advancing deep in the playoffs this fall.
Jamison with a gap to run through, a nice cut, and he's gone.
With a dynamic offense that is giving the team early leads, the defense looks like one that will challenge opposing offenses every week.
It seems like we're a defense that hopefully every week someone kind of has a huge week that steps up and the other 10 play great, and together they're pretty impressive.
Mason's dad, Rob, played football at the University of Minnesota in the late 1980s and early 90s, right about the same time as Maple Grove assistant coach Derek Fisher. Our CCX Sports Play of the Week is back and more popular than ever. It's your chance to vote on one of 4 top plays from the past week. Our latest winner is Drew Berkland of Wayzata football, and this amazing one-handed touchdown catch he made in a Week 2 Trojans win over Champlin Park. 4 new plays are up for you to vote on. Just go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the Sports tab and go to the Play of the Week page. You can vote once a day on any of your devices. While many of our high school football telecasts involve the larger enrollment schools in our area, this weekend we have 2 games involving smaller classes. Friday night, it's 2 Class 3A schools, Providence Academy, traveling to Golden Valley to take on Breck. Kickoff is set for 7 o'clock at McKnight Field. And then Saturday evening, October 2nd at 6 o'clock, Brooklyn Center hosts Minneapolis Henry. You can watch both of those games live here on CCX1 and online at ccxmedia.org. That's all for sports. I'm John Jacobson.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.